going on, everybody? Dan Moonshine, the Hillbilly Hellraiser. Welcome back to another Moonshine Talking. How you doing? I'm doing alright. I can't really complain too much. I suppose I could, but I won't. We're not too far removed from Halloween, which is big time at my job. Halloween was crazy, as it usually is. Typically, it's the last couple of weeks before it starts, and then it just steamrolls and snowballs from there. But this time, it was probably the last week or so, probably the Monday through to the Friday, and then the first was also kind of busy for us because with it being a Saturday, people were doing parties still on the first. Excuse me. As opposed to just the Halloween itself on the Friday. Based on the fact that I've cleared my throat a couple of times, I got sick at some point. I don't know when. I just started feeling all mungy last Saturday, and it was some sort of sinus infection. I hit it with all sorts of over-the-counter cold meds, and for the most part, I'm doing all right, but a little nasally at times, even talking. It's kind of like I want to do that whole bull snorting thing, but I want to gross people out. As a matter of fact, I don't want to make you all ill with my snotty noises, but anyhow. So the reason I'm here today is I decided to recommend some black metal albums. I've been going down a couple of rabbit holes recently, and I figured that I would share some of them. I was just kind of like building up my collection and stuff like that, and just kind of trying to find different things. I was going to do a word association game with a video that I was going to do, and I went on Metal Archives, typed in a couple of words, stuff would pop up, saw stuff that looked interesting, that led me to certain labels, which led me to certain bands, which then you start following the bouncing ball down the road, led me to looking at some artists with the cover art and going down that rabbit hole, and it just kind of led me to finding a bunch of cool stuff. So I figured I would share it with you and show you what I thought was worth listening to. And yeah, man, so let's get into this. So first up, I probably don't have to tell a whole lot of people about this. Most of you probably all know this. If you like my channel, then you're pretty much you're into all this different stuff. I mean, this is all now to take a step back a little bit. A lot of these are some newer bands that I really think they're keeping that black flame lit. That's the theme of the video here. These are bands that are keeping it dark, mean, nasty, evil, all those sorts of good things. And yeah, they're definitely worth your time, I believe. But first up is a band that's been around forever. This came out in 2015 on Agonia Records. This is Axiom by Infernal War. Now, I'm probably not telling too many people anything they don't already know. Infernal War is a fantastic band. They've been around for quite some time. This was the last thing they put out. I found out about them through Trevor from Fumes of Hatred. He was chatting with me. We were texting back and forth. He was telling me how he's so excited about Metal Threat that it's already come and gone, but at the time it had just been announced, all the bands that were playing. And he was super stoked for Infernal War, and I had never heard of them, so I checked them out. I looked them up on Metal Archives, saw what they had available, checked out Terror Front, and it blew my mind how good it was. I mean, just the raw aggression of it was like top-notch, top-tier black metal. Just the musicianship and just everything about it was fantastic. So I looked more into some of their other stuff, trying to find stuff to purchase. And this and Conflagration, the EP that they put out prior to this, were the only ones I could find. So I'll keep my eyes out. Terror Front is pretty expensive, trying to get hands on it, so I'll just keep my eyes out for it in the meantime. But beyond that, yeah, man, this is fantastic stuff. This is just, to boil it to its core, it's mean and nasty and 43 minutes of an unrelenting assault. The whole band is precise with its attack, mixing the blasts with sharp melodies. but probably like the star of the show is Stormblaster, their drummer. He is ridiculously good behind that kit. Just his fills, his patterns, his speed, his technique, all of it's phenomenal. I would say if you're not already familiar with Infernal War, then definitely go check them out. From what I gathered from a couple of people at Metal Threat, and I even saw a video of it, and they did a fantastic job, but they killed it at Metal Threat this year. It looked like it was a good time. It would have been nice to see it live, so I'm glad a couple of my buddies got to go see it and had a blast. I know some people are kind of going to bristle at the idea because there's some controversy with the band, particularly related to their earlier releases, but you know, it is what it is. Some people, you know, it can't please everybody, and I'm not going to defend anybody's artistic choices or political takes or anything like that. I like the music. I think it's really good, and I would recommend it to anybody who likes something that's fast, mean, aggressive, and does not take its foot off the gas or its knee off your neck. It'd be the best way I could describe it. But yeah, man, go check out Infernal War. Check out any of their stuff. It's all good. Next up, this kind of led into, this was part of my rabbit hole search. So I did the word association thing, found an album, which led me to a label, the label being Soul Cellar Records, and I found a couple of new releases this year that I think they've fallen under the radar, but I really think need to have a little bit more attention drawn to them. And the first one that I'm going to talk about here is the band Aran Angmar, and I have a very hard time pronouncing this half the time. My dyslexia kicks in, and I want to call them Aran Angmar. It's Aran Angmar, but I keep screwing it up and calling it stuff completely different. But this is a multinational black metal band, primarily out of Greece, but they're also, there's guys who, I think they say the later albums, they're from Italy. There's also Netherlands is considered a country of origin for the band. But this is fantastic stuff. What I like about it is that this isn't your atypical, like just fast as fast can be black metal. This has a certain level of melody, and it incorporates different types of styles, different genres. The vocals, they're a little bit more barky as opposed to the high shrieks, that sort of thing. It's more lower registers. There's lots of bouncy rhythms in it, particularly with Hillel Ben Sahar. You can get, there's almost like, and I know this will set some people's heads ablaze, but it almost has kind of like a bouncy hip hop feel to it. Like if you listen to it, you could almost feel like a flow going on with it, and I don't say that as a knock against the band or derogatory. I think it's cool. I think it's a neat little element that they provide, that they present with their music, that gives it a little different flavor than you normally get. Plus, on top of that, they also use when I was in college and I used to take music courses, we would call it world music, but most people commonly call it folk, where they incorporate lots of folk instruments into their songs, particularly on Primordial Fire, which is another fantastic track on the album. There's lots of, it just kind of gives this visual, in my mind's eye at least. You're heading down some dingy bazaar in some corner of this weird street fair or what have you in Europe or the Middle East, and you come across whatever sort of, like, you come across the Lament configuration or something, I don't know, but I mean, it's really cool. They're a very good band, very tight. I would recommend, probably, if you check this out and you like it, go check out Black Cosmic Elements. That's their debut album. And Atavism and I can't remember, something Stars is their second album. That one's pretty good too, but I probably like Black Cosmic Elements almost as much as I like this one. Maybe a little bit more, but this is a band that I would say probably, if you're a fan of God Dethroned or Nile, even, I'm not really familiar with Rotting Christ, but I would figure due to the Greek connection, there's probably some elements of influence there. But again, I don't really listen to Rotting Christ. Not that I don't like them, I just really, they're one of those bands I never really sat down and listened to and got into and made mine. But I would think probably, even though I'm talking out of my ass, there's probably some element of truth there. But yeah, man, definitely go check out Aran Angmar. Very killer band. This is one of those sleeper releases this year that I don't think a lot of people heard of or paid much attention to. But yeah, it's a solid one. So next up from the Soul Cellar family is going to be the debut album from a band called Taar. Taar is another Greek, they're a Swiss conglomerate. A couple of the members are in a couple of other bands called Anti-Creation and Burial Hordes were a couple of the names that I saw pop up that some people were chatting up. What drew me to this, first of all, was the cover. And this is another rabbit hole that I went down. The cover art was done by Belial Necro Arts, and I just thought that was killer. Just the darkness of it, and just the evil presentation. Just very, very cool stuff. Freaking demon warrior riding the horseback and working its way up through the portals from another world, from the underworld. It was just very, very cool. There's a lot to love about this album. It's dark, malicious, and hostile. That'd be the best way to describe their sound. Lots of dissonance, blistering drums, frenzied rhythms. All of it's punctuated by Noctis's powerful screams. I was shocked to see, not to sound almost put my misogyny hat on or anything, but I was shocked to see that it was a female vocalist, because it was, just, I didn't expect that sound out of lady. But yeah, it was fantastic. And, even on songs where they slow down the tempo, like Perpetual Descent, they create an ambiance to the whole thing. Storm of War, where Death Stalks its prey, are all very good examples of how solid of a band this is. I mean, this is another it's a sleeper album. I think another one that many people probably missed the boat on or didn't even notice and didn't realize was out. But, it is the nature of, there's just so many releases to come out. You can't follow them all, but I found this one and was very pleased with it. I think probably people who really, if you're into Marduk, then this is going to be one of those bands that you'd really enjoy. I'm starting a little bit I was trying to listen to Anti-Creation a little bit, but I didn't really have a lot of time to really focus on it. But yeah, man, definitely go check out Taar. It's a fantastic album. The Garces Till Dawn, out on Soul Cellar Records. So next up, we move out of international waters and we move to the Lone Star state of Texas. And what we're going to be talking about now is Satanic Death Militia from the band Wulfskol. This is on Goat Throne Records. Very cool. Listening to this, I came away with two takeaways. One, the band is really interested in Satan, and two, they're really interested in nuclear fallout. That's two themes that are resounding throughout the album. It's very enjoyable. It's an EP. The best way to describe it is it's mostly feral. It's got lots of gang vocals, catchy melodies. It's the sort of thing where I would probably put on a if I was throwing a party and I was putting a playlist together, I'd probably throw it on like Toxic Holocaust and Slayer and Midnight, and Danzig, and tap a keg and sit back and wait for the mushroom cloud to blow up in the sky and give us all permanent orange afros. That'd be kind of the general idea behind this. But probably my favorite songs were Mortis Cult and Radiation Vortex. Very cool. The album cover's really cool. I don't know who did that. But yeah, these guys are really getting a lot of, at least internet-wise, they're getting a lot of attention because with them being a Texas band, they're somewhat affiliated with some of the people who make videos that I'm aware of, who also have bands like Crucifer, with his Infuriator and Iron Casket. I think one or both of them have done shows with them. Mordred Red's done some stuff with them. I first came into contact with Wulfskol, or at least became aware of them, I should say, through listening to the Burn With Us split they did with Hexeia, and I really enjoyed that, really enjoyed Hexeia, picked up Hexeia's new album earlier this year, The Ancient Gaping Mouth, a very cool one on the Hell's Headbangers, just a little quick aside there, but yeah, man, Wulfskol's a very solid band. If you like your black and punk, with little elements of thrash, and descriptions of doomsday and nuclear radiation and Satan and stuff like that, then you'll probably enjoy Wulfskol. So yeah, man, go check out Satanic Death Militia. It's available, 2021 EP from Goat Throne Records. Killer stuff. So we are going to stick on the black and punk tip, and we're going to travel from Texas down here to Florida, or over here to Florida. by way of Cuba, I should say. And this is an album that came out early this year on Horror Pain Gore Productions, Horror Pain Gore Death Productions, which is it's a label that is kind of affiliated with the pro wrestling industry through the deathmatch circuit. There's a gentleman by the name of Schlack, who he's a deathmatch wrestler, very, very popular on the indie scene. He's a good wrestler, but he mostly likes to bleed and get hit with crap and stuff like that. He's a very colorful character. But he's got a band as well. He's got like a grindcore band called Eat the Turnbuckle, and they have stuff on this label. So that's where I'm familiar with them, with the label itself. And then they were also affiliated with kind of like the internet circle of people that I travel in, because Shane from Vulgar Display Gaming and Revik from Mordred Red were both involved in a benefit show that Ruthless Pro Wrestling put on, and they're affiliated with the Horror Pain Gore Death Productions label. And they did they had a death match. I don't know if it was a tournament, but a show, and Mordred Red and a bunch of other bands played on it. Shane was live streaming it, and he was involved with it. So it kind of cool little, much ado about nothing sidebar there. But that all said, this is the band Ancestor of Kaos, and that is Animal Ritual. This is also, this I found through looking up all the different covers that Belial Necroarts did, and that's another one that he did. And I went and checked out the songs, checked out the Bandcamp, really enjoyed it, and yeah, it was very cool stuff. I would probably describe their sound as it's militant and at times tribal with a little punk edge. It's got 10 songs, 37 minutes of straight up sonic fury. Legacy, Raven Razor, Death by Hanging, Exorcism of Liberation. This is, again, another one that's I think a lot of people slept on, but I think a lot of people will enjoy if they listen to it. I mean, the whole thing is pretty good, and it's definitely, to me at least, it's a dark horse candidate as far as falling into people's best ofs this year, but definitely one that I would recommend people check out. A lot of newer stuff that I've been listening to. I know, a lot of times you can go back and listen to the older bands and pick up the classics and stuff like that, and that's cool, but it's nice to find newer bands that, again, trying to keep with the theme here, the bands that are keeping that black flame lit and holding the torch high is kind of the idea here. So next up, we're going to head from Florida to New York, Brooklyn to be exact, and we're going to talk up the band Arsantiqva, which hopefully I'm not butchering that, and this is the album Scavengers. This is their only full length that they put out. They put out a demo in 2012, and then that came out in 2017. So that to date is the only stuff that they have that's been produced. It's full of dark, eerie melodies, choral hymns that create this atmosphere of foreboding doom, riffs that kind of sound like a cross between late stage Satyricon and new wave of British heavy metal like Maiden or Priest, stuff like that. I got to see them perform last year at Swarmfest 2024. As a matter of fact, I'm filming this on Sunday, the 9th, and the 8th and 7th is Swarmfest 2025, but once I finally realized it was happening, it was too late for me to go. And aside from some of the local bands who I like checking out on the regular, who I haven't got to see in a minute, the main band who I would have wanted to see was Perdition Temple, and I think they're only playing for like a half hour, 45 minutes. So I said, you know what, I'm as much as I'd like to go out, I was still feeling a little bit under the weather, so I just said, you know, I'm just going to stay in and not really chance feeling like crap and feeling miserable and, you know, that sort of thing. So I said, yeah, you know, unfortunately I missed Warmfest this year. They were a crowd pleaser for sure, and they were, apparently, I was standing next to their guitar player and chief songwriter, Dictator, the entire night. Him and his old lady, his girlfriend, wife, they were hanging out in the same, like, probably a couple of people in front of me, and just, I didn't really talk to them or anything. I didn't know who they were. They're just other people in the crowd, and when I'm watching bands, I don't really just, I don't talk with people. I just kind of watch and take it in and experience it. But I thought that was kind of like a cool little neat thing. But yeah, if you, as far as songs, Snakeskin, Hellwhore is probably one of my favorite ones. Dominion, it's good. It's definitely, it's got a different vibe to it. It's kind of like not quite symphonic, but definitely it's got that mid 2000s black metal sound and style to it, I would say. Like I say, it kind of sounds like a cross between influences ranging from late stage Satyricon to new wave of British heavy metal stuff. But definitely go check it out and let me know what you think. Let them know what you think of it. So next up, we're going to stick in New York. This is another new release that came out this year. This is the band Ordeals, and this is their album Third Rail Prayer that came out on Eternal Death Records. This is, again, another one that kind of flew under the radar. I would say their sound mixes like frenzied pacing with solid in-the-pocket melodies, evil, at times pained vocals, particularly on Third Rail Prayer and Emerge. Scorn Ceremonies, another really good song. It kind of lowers the temperature of the album and brings the dread down to a simmer instead of a boil, would be the best way I could describe it. And then there's a couple of soundscape compositions throughout it. And throughout the album, there's this theme of where they have samples of the subways running throughout it. And it kind of creates this looming sense of dread and darkness, and paints this picture of this sinister underworld lurking below the city streets. And I think that kind of, especially the final closing moments of Emerge, you kind of get this impression that there's something dark and evil that's just lurking below, and seeing all the tunnels and all the craziness that could go on below the city streets in the subways. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. But what else I thought was interesting about this was that the logo for the band was done by Equitant from Absu and Jenglot Hittum, who I hopefully pronounce his name right, but not familiar with. But he's done a ton of different bands' album artwork. He's done Perdition Temple, the new Genocidal Rites, Hypergonia from last year, Serenos, Malefic Throne, just a laundry list of bands. He's got a very long and large resume of work that he's done, and this was a very cool logo that they did. And it's kind of ironic that someone from Absu was involved in helping them create something, because this is definitely, if you're a fan of Absu or Dissection, I think this is probably the type of stuff that you'll enjoy. It's, again, very cool album, very much kind of off the beaten path, a little under the radar as far as albums go. But yeah, man, these guys are, they're doing it right, no doubt. So this was another rabbit hole that I went down, was I started checking out a lot of Eternal Death stuff. And the next one that I came up with was, we move from New York to Jersey, and we find the Gauntlet. This is called Dark Steel and Fire. It's a 2023 release. And aside from a few splits and an EP, this is the lone full length that it's a one-man project. It's helmed by a guy named Ace Megiddo, which is probably one of the coolest names I've heard anyone have for a band name. I would consider this, if you like your first wave Bathory and Venom worship and music loaded with catchy riffs and screeching vocals, having a retro, almost vintage mix that makes the album sound like it should be playing off of a boombox from the 80s with scratchy speakers on it, then I would say the Gauntlet's for you. As far as really cool songs on it, the title track, Dark Steel and Fire, is really good. Winds Without Mercy, the Signal to Attack, if I can spit that out, are all very cool songs. I love the album artwork. This actually inspired me to start writing a story that hopefully I can flesh out a little bit and kind of come up with something pretty cool that... desires in life. Sometimes things just kind of peter out and fail. To sound all dark and ominous and depressing or whatnot, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes I do stuff like that and it just kind of goes. But anyhow, to close out these events and not end on such a sad note, we're gonna stay on the Eternal Death Records track, and we're going to talk about this band here. And this was a phenomenal release. This is one of those really surprise ones that I picked up and was really pleased with. This is for a Colombian band. Their name is Niadh, and this is called Our Victory is Eternal. This came out in 2016 originally, and it is originally a release on a Colombian label called Iron Goat Commando, which has a bunch of fantastic stuff. Both releases from Power from Hell. They have a band on their roster called Divine Profanity, which is really good. A lot of Niadh's earlier releases are really, really good. This is if you like very raw, first wavy type black metal. This will be the type of stuff that you'll really enjoy. You can really get the sense of the evil and the desperation within all of the songs on this album. Particularly Destroy All and Create a New World Without End is a really good one. Evil's another really good song. From Emptiness and Despair. I mean, the whole thing is really good. I think anyone who listens to this, checks it out, will be really pleased with it. it was another one where, again, the cover art kind of drew me in, but the music kind of kept me there. Not kind of, it kept me there. It's a very raw and unwavering album, and I think that people who are very big fans of raw music will really enjoy this. And yeah, I was gonna pick it up on vinyl, but the vinyl was a little too rich for my blood, so I said, I'll pick it up on CD. I wound up going on Discogs and found it. I was very, very pleased to have it. Very cool album. Very cool band. The stuff you're listening to or have been listening to in the background is their vocalist. It's his other band, Ironstrike. It's called Symbol of Unholy Power. And that's another fantastic release. But I couldn't find it anywhere, so I just said, alright, I'll just buy a digital copy of it. I'll play it during the video and people can at least get to check it out there. But definitely, go check out all these bands. Go check out all the labels. Eternal Death Records, Soul Cellar Records, Iron Go Commando, all that's they're very good destinations to find very cool underground black metal and death metal stuff like that. Stuff that's keeping that black flame burning bright throughout the ages. And yeah, man, I think if you're looking for bands that are trying to keep, they're keeping this thing alive, then these are places where I would start. Very cool stuff. As an aside, if you're a fan of the band Blood Red Throne, they're putting out a new release in December on Soul Cellar, which I heard one of the tracks off of that. It sounded very cool. So yeah, man, it's something to look forward to. And yeah, so that's what I got for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time. Hope you stuck around to the end. If you had, thank you. Appreciate it. If you're new here, just checking out the video by pure happenstance or however you found it, please give it a like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment if you will. I'm not going to twist your arm. Not that I can. I'm on the internet anyhow. But yeah, man, it certainly helps the channel grow. I appreciate it. And it just gets this crazy ass nonsense popping into the algorithm somehow, for as much as that's worth. But yeah, man, so that's what I got for you. This is Dan Moonshine with Moonshine Talking, saying as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal, always tuck your chin up on impact, don't forget to breathe. Everyone have a good one, take it easy, be well, and I will catch you on the next video. Later. Check it out. Check out that Goat Metal shirt. That Goat Metal Show shirt that I got. I got that from Rich and Tone and Barry. Very, very cool stuff. Very much appreciated. No one has to do crap for me, but I appreciate it nonetheless. But this is very cool. Got some swag from them. So yeah, that's that. Alright, I'm out here. Later.